Well, welcome back everybody then to Motorsport Manager and the single-seater playthrough. We're on to race number 3 now then, of season number 6. And it's been a pretty good start so far. I think our car still needs a lot of work, but we've managed to, through a bit of luck and a bit of strategy, get 2 second places and 2 fourth places, and a podium for each driver so far, which just purely through consistency puts us at the top of the standings for the moment. But if we're going to stay there, we need to push this car on up, because we've got the 7th quickest car now, and it's going to need to be a bit better than that if we want to be on the podium consistently. So let's get on with it. Our balance we're much happier with now. I think we can definitely continue to put parts on the car, and we seem to be making enough per race that we should be able to do that pretty much constantly. Whether it'll be enough to get our car up the grid, I mean, this is the position we were in last year, so obviously the HQ upgrade will help a bit with the design centre, but it's going to be tricky. All we can do is make the car as good as we can with what we have available to us. If it's enough, it's enough. If it's not, well, we might be fired. But, you know, runner-up is the minimum we're aiming for this time. Obviously, if we can get the title, that's the main hope. So let's just go through the pit crew. We got a 12 and a 10 on refuel. You see, we've got a few really good guys in the pit crew now, but they're going to start getting worn out. So I think we are going to have to rest some of them. So I think we'll change Zogbo for Fraga. Front jack, we got anybody that can fill that yet? Arfield can change that. I don't want to change both INT particularly, but he's going to need a rest at some point. I think we'll give him a rest the first time, and then we can swap him back in hopefully for Golub next time. We are going to be losing a big benefit on the tyres, but that's, at the end of the day, it's not a massive deal. And I think we'll put in Colingo. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to... Well, let's just go through and renew everything. That's 10 anyway. This is going to be the bane of my life doing this. It really is. Why? Please, PlaySport, put in an automatic option. It really can't be that hard, can it? We've probably got too many pit crew at the moment, but they don't cost us a huge amount, so it's not a massive problem. I'd rather have too many than too few, to be honest. Let's just renew that one. Now, I don't think pit crew improve, unfortunately, which would have been a nice thing for them to have. But I don't think they do. I don't think they have potential, so their stats are their stats. So it's worth keeping an eye out who's about. I see Bento there. Oh, we got 2 really good people here. So we're starting to get some better pit crew here. I'm going to hire those 2 up because they're pretty good. So let's try and find the corresponding people to get rid of instead of them, because we've got far too many staff now. Right, so if we put Murphy in... Hey, no, I want to swap him. Thank you very much. For Inkalingo, I guess. And then, where else are we a little bit weak or a little low on stamina? 10 and 12 on tyres and fixing. We got anybody there? 10 and 12. 13 and 12, I guess that helps. We can swap that out. We need to get rid of some people. See, fixing and tyres, Paul is pretty good. Gusty's no good. Off you go. Marquez, I think we can get rid of. And probably Rivera as well. We'll call that at that for now, and we'll see how we get on with that crew. Obviously, we've taken on a couple of really expensive ones there, but hopefully those extra couple of seconds gained in the pit stops will be worth it. It's an easy thing to control, really, just getting a better crew. much easier than improving the car, that's for sure. And if you save a few seconds, that could be a couple of upgrades that will need that to improve in the race. So new sponsor slot available. We'll wait for a couple of more as per usual. We should really see what's going on with the car. At the moment we were still concentrating on reliability. I think we'll do that for one more race. And then we will go back to mixing it between performance and reliability. Because I think hopefully one more race will be useful, because the AI do seem to be affected pretty badly by the reliability this season. So new suspension part finished. Was that the first or the second one we had? That was the second. So let's keep things down in cost a little bit till we get this aggregate, till we get properly back into the green. So brakes is definitely something we can work on. So let's go for some new brakes. Plus deceleration, plus reliability. Improved tyre wear would be quite useful, but we've got a very good car for that this year, so I think we will just go for deceleration and reliability. We'll get that built. Still only one sponsor available. Those brakes are only going to take a couple of days. That's a quick turnaround from those guys. I shouldn't even need to ask them to develop brakes if it takes them 3 days or 4 days. Alright, we've got some good sponsors available. Up front of 1.5 or 400,000 per race for 15 races. That's definitely the best sponsor there. That's a cracking sponsor. Cortez Tyres, welcome aboard. That's going to be really useful. Is that our first 4-star? No, they're all starting to be. Well, it's our third 4-star, as well as PlaySport advertising the game we're playing. I don't know how that works. It's a bit meta, really. We've got sponsors of the game that we're playing to pretend to be the car that's in the game of the sponsor. Anyway, get far too confused in that. That's quite a few more days. Quite a long time between these two races, which is going to enable us to do quite a bit. So we shall build some more brakes. Once again, go with deceleration and reliability. And then we'll go... Actually, they're not very good. Oh, we got a designer slot, thankfully. I was going to say none of those were any good, but luckily Ruby Smith to the rescue there. And second set of brakes on board then. So let's see if we can get them ready for the next race. On 70% on both front wings now, which is good. So let's switch over to that. And new suspension part, I also forgot to start boosting. We'll go over to that gearbox as well. And continue. And that design centre is nearly finished as well. So things starting to come together now. Another new brakes finished, so we will call that for the moment. We'll build some new parts after the next race when we get a bit more money in the bank. So we'll switch the rear wing over to the brakes, and we'll switch this gearbox back over to the suspension. Yep, that's all okay. And we're nearly ready to go then. I don't think our car is still 7th best. Obviously, once we start working on the performance, once we've got the reliability down of most of the base parts, then hopefully our rating should start to come up and we should start to move through that grid. Design Centre, 2 days away then. There we go. So Design Centre now up to level 2. And that is going to reduce the time it takes to build the parts, and then that gives us more opportunity to get them ready for the next race once they're built. So that's going to be pretty helpful, I think. We'd love to know your thoughts. No, thank you. I don't care if they get rid of a track. Got a racing team to run. Speak to our media representative for that, please. Put out a press release that I had nothing to do with. Is there any chance you look... Well, Ruby, that's... They've got second and fourth each in the last 2 races, and already Clara and Tom are okay, but everyone knows they're better drivers in the rest of the championship. I think you're right eventually, Ruby. You're a little out of order, to be honest, coming to me with that. You're an engineer at the end of the day, or lead designer. I decide the drivers. But they seem to be doing pretty well at the moment, and I'm definitely going to keep them for this season. We might think about it next year, but for the moment we're going to stick with this team because they've done a good job for us, and I think Monroe's got a good amount of improvement in him as well. Removal of Rio de Janeiro. We're not even on the list. I'll just abstain, thank you. I don't really care if we go there or not. I'm not Brazilian. We're not a Brazilian team. We haven't got any Brazilian drivers, and it's against. Probably for the best. You kind of want to race in Rio or in Brazil in general. I'm a little bit worried about Interlagos being taken off the calendar soon, especially with no F1, no Brazilian drivers on their way. But hey, I've done some work at our data center and networking capabilities. At the moment, the technicians have found that our data storage is a bit out of date. What happiness are we on already? As long as we continue to have good results, it won't cost us too much. It will wipe out basically all the good work we've had for the first couple of races. It's a bit risky, but I can't afford to lose $500,000 at this point. So we're just going to ignore the chairman. He's not going to be happy, but what can you do at the end of the day? We'll just have to improve his mood with the results on the track. Right, we've got second in the last couple of races. I don't think it's worth that extra 80,000 risk. I'm fairly confident we can get fourth no matter what. So we're going to go with Condor Telecoms once again. And we'll see if we can get any of the new parts on the car. We can get one of the brakes on. I'm not really happy taking a 50% reliability. So we will give Eka those. And we will switch this back. Someone pointed out last time that I forgot to give the best old part to Monroe. So we're making sure we do that this time. Thank you for... can't remember your name off the top of my head, but thank you for pointing that out. And then to equal that out, I think we'll give Monroe the better suspension part. It's ready purely because the other suspension part we would be using is 64, so we may as well take it. It's a big improvement anyway. And I think that means we are ready to go. It is. Right, as always, I shall get practice underway, everybody, and be back with you shortly for qualifying. Okay, out into qualifying we go. Pretty good practice session. Obviously, out here in the desert, we get a nice long practice session uninterrupted by any weather. So we've got some good running on the medium tyres, some good race trim, maxed out the pair of them. Unfortunately, with this championship, we don't really get enough time to do anything past that. So obviously, we can't do any practice for qualifying. But I'm fairly confident. You know, our two cars have done really well in qualifying the last few races. And that's really been the basis of them getting the results they have. So hopefully we can see them nicely into the top 10. And one of them can hopefully hit that sponsor objective of 4th. But again, there's no bad weather. There's no hiding on a track like this. It's very car dependent. It's a long lap as well. So we may start to see the weakness of our car appearing here. Now, Eka's time has gone up, but she hasn't finished a lap yet, so I don't quite know why that is. For some reason it counted her out lap. I'm not sure why it's done that. But we'll wait till the end of the lap anyway. She's slower than she was. She does a 47.4 then. And Monroe is 3 tenths further back on a 47.7. And it's not looking massively competitive at the moment. Hopefully they can find some pace second time around, but we'll see how it shakes out. Eka once again a good margin ahead of Monroe, and there does seem to be a pretty clear skill gap, especially in qualifying between the pair of them. Now Eka, we put in our reserve because she's got a lot better what's the word a lot better feedback than Eka. So Eka never actually takes part in practice, and that's kind of worked to her favour this time because she's maxed out on form from her great race last time, and it means that that carries over, and she's got no opportunity to lose it in practice. She can come straight out in qualifying, firing and ready to go. It has gone down to 9.6 in the garage now, 9.5. I really don't understand how their form can decrease in the garage. I don't know what they're doing in there. We made some tweaks for qualifying to her setup, and that seems to have worked. So she's up to 98 now, and Monroe is on 97. So setups are good. So this might just be the pace of the car starting to show here. And you know, I don't feel too bad if this race gives us a nudge in the right direction and reminds us that we need to do a lot of work to our car. But hopefully Eka can improve a bit. She's going to have to improve a huge amount if she wants to reach the sponsor objective of 4th. She's going to have to find almost half a second, maybe more. But as long as she can get close to that top sort of 5 or 6 and find a couple of attempts, then I'd be happy with that. Monroe, once again, I really need him to start closing that gap to Eka now. He had a great season last season, but we weren't expecting too much. And if he wants to stay in this car for next season, he's going to have to start showing some major improvements in form. So both going green at the moment. So it does look like a bit of an improvement. Eka will be the first to cross the line. She finds a tiny improvement, but it's not enough. Monroe finds a small improvement. But it's less than a tenth for both cars. And it means Eka will line up 12th and Monroe 18th. Yeah, I had a feeling this track might show up our car, and it's definitely done that. We're going to have to rely on strategy here if we're going to get anything out of this race. We might have to take a leaf out of the book of the Haas career mode and maybe try and do a one-stop or start on the hard tyres. Do something different here if we're going to get any points out of this race. Of course, it's only the top 6 that will score. And if we want to hold on to our championship lead, we're going to have to pull out something magnificent here. Right, we will go medium in race trim, purely because obviously they're still working on the relationship with their engineers, so there's not really much else we can do until they get acquainted with them and start getting some more beneficial things to use. Now, looking at it, we should be able to do a one-stop, possibly on 2 sets of mediums. But just in case, I think I want to split the strategy. So I think we're going to start Eka on the mediums, and if they go the distance... Oh, it's the fuel tank again. I keep forgetting about this. It's the smaller fuel tank this season is going to make it impossible to do a one-stop strategy unless we save fuel for the entire race, and I don't see any benefit in that. So it's got to be medium tyres, and we got less tyres available. This is going to be a tricky race. It might have to be a 2-stop strategy, and we'll have to use 2 sets of mediums, but at least we might be able to go a bit more aggressively on them. Okay, we'll start both drivers on the mediums. I don't really see what else we can do. Hard tyres are going to be useless here, I think. And 12 laps for both drivers then. There's not these fuel tanks are limiting. We're going to need to find a big improvement in our car if we're going to do well this season, because we can't do it on strategy when it's being limited like that. Right, we're underway then. Hopefully Eka and Monroe can make up some places in the early couple of laps here and get themselves back into this race. Eka's already made her way up to 11th, but she's still side by side with Narhez and actually comes out just behind then. Monroe making some good progress in the second half of this lap then, up to 16th now. Let's knock it on up to 2 times, so we can probably go back to neutral on the tyres and we'll go to medium with fuel, because we really can't burn fuel because we need to go as far as possible into these stints. Now we need to keep an eye on the tyres. Incredibly hot here. 31 degrees means that these tyres are going to overheat pretty easily, I would imagine. And Eka struggling to make progress. Monroe making a good charge through the field, up to 14th now. And it's actually alongside with his teammate there, as Eka gets out of the way of Aggression Nov, that person. But Eka just about holding off her teammate. She does not want to concede that position. But as per usual, it's a complete and utter mess with all this AI. And we really could shake out of this in either 12th or 13th or 19th and 20th. It is that kind of mob. And this is really hurting us. Not being able to use any speed we've got. But this might be the speed we've got for the race, let's be honest. Right, tyres are overheating a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that because we are going to have to do a two-stop no matter what. And because we've only got one set of soft tyres per car, we can't do two stints on the soft tyres. So we're going to have to go medium, soft, medium, or medium, medium, soft on both cars. So we've got a bit of tyre life to use, so I'm happy to let them overheat, to be honest. It's only going to take a couple of laps off the life, I would expect, if we keep it on normal. How are we looking in terms of fuel? Yeah, people are using fuel. So gearbox is a little bit better on Eka's, so I'll go high mode for a couple of laps. We only really need to go to lap 10 or 11 if we're going to be doing a two-stop strategy. So we've got a couple of laps extra that we can use. So let's go to a higher fuel mode and see if it makes any difference. Let's do the same for Monroe for a couple of laps at least, but we are going to have to keep an eye on his gearbox. And already a gap developing then between the front five and the rest of the field. And a gap developing between 10th and 11th as well, which is putting us out of commission. So we need Eka to try and get past Tyler if she's got the pace, because this is damaging our race a great deal here. But I do worry that we haven't got the pace. As I say, this is around about where we qualified, and we're not exactly steaming through this field, so I think this is going to be a bit of a painful race, this one. So tyres are overheating a bit, but I don't see any problem. As I said, I think we can carry on with that, because they're easily in the last 10 laps, even burning up like this. Right, let's go up to 4 speed. There's really not much we can do in this race but sit and wait. We haven't got any toys to play with, we haven't got any energy recovery systems, and we can't really do much different on strategy. So we can come in a couple of laps before. That's the one thing we can do. We could pit one of the two drivers on maybe lap 8 and put the soft tyres on. But we can only really do that once if we want to see the finish in terms of fuel. So Eka has started making her way back through now. There's some of the soft tyre runners have started pitting, and that seems to have afforded us the opportunity to get past a couple of cars there with Eka, and she's now free of that group. So we'll see if she's got the pace to chase down Kuroshima ahead, and then here we'll find out whether we've just been stuck behind this group or whether this is the pace of the car. She does seem to be sprinting away pretty rapidly. And I think we're going to jump early with Monroe. He's the one that needs probably the biggest jump. So if we go 10 laps here, just under 11, and then we can do 12 laps on the final stint on the mediums if we need to. Excuse me. Right, let's get him in. Eka, now she's free, it might pay to leave her out for a couple of laps here. Save on tyre life for the rest of the race and make up some ground on these cars ahead while they're still staying out. So Monroe in, hopefully our new and improved pit crew do a good job. 11.6 seconds, so I've got not really much to compare that to, but no mistakes, that's all we can ask. And now I think we're going to have to go conserve on these softs though, just to get the maximum out of them, because this will be the fastest part of the race for Monroe. I'll probably go quicker at the end for Eka. And we will go back to medium fuel for now, just to look after that gearbox. Right, Eka is going to have to come in this time around. And so I think we'll go on to the mediums. do as big a stint as we can, and then we should have a nice little blast to the finish on the softs at the end. So Eka is only 5 seconds behind Kurishima, who is the only real benchmark we've got. So she is going to lose out, but the AI are doing the same kind of thing they did before, which is they're sticking to their strategies as though they've got a bigger fuel tank. Because putting the hard tyres on is no good if you can only do 12 laps based on fuel. It's not endurance where you're going to double or triple stint the tyres. So we've come out in 14th place, but we've got some nice fresh air ahead of us as well. We should be able to come back through the field here, Rebecca, because we've got much faster tyres on. And some fuel to burn. Monroe, on the other hand, isn't really able to use those soft tyres. That's Greshinov that's come out ahead of him. So we're round about where we were, to be fair. Eka has managed to stay ahead of that group, but she doesn't have the pace she had at the end of the first stint. She's not exactly racing away from Tyler. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, this one. We'll see. Just keep an eye on that gap ahead with Eka. It's 2.6 seconds, 2.4, 2.2. So she is catching quite quickly. And those guys ahead are on the hard tyres, so this is where we need to do the damage. Because for the final stint, they're surely going to put either the mediums or the softs on. This is the one stint where we're going to have a big tyre advantage, I feel. So if she can get past these guys quickly and then start building a gap, then there's a real chance of some points here. Monroe, on the other hand, has got a whole train of traffic, and unfortunately for him, Grechinov has come out just ahead. I'm saying Grechinov, that's Grebenskioff. Anyway, I'm sure that's why half you watch, isn't it? It's my bad pronunciations. I shouldn't get them all right, because then you might stop watching. Right, we are overheating these mediums a little bit. But again, we can probably afford to go a bit harder on them. We did a good first stint, and we only need to go to sort of lap 20-21 at the very latest to make the soft tyres work. So Eka is now on the back of this group, but it doesn't work unless she can get past here. Monroe, on the other hand, I'm going to keep his tyres at conserve because he needs a few more laps out of these softs, really. And he's fighting with Grechinov, but not able to do anything. And this is hurting him. He needs to make some progress. Right, Eka has passed Tyler. And is now trying to get past McLeod then. Again, she could do with doing this as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, my mouse has died, which is always a good thing. So we'll just plug that back in. Hopefully nothing strange happens at this point. So some people coming in for their second stops now. And once again, they're putting on the hard tyres. And once again, this is too early. Unless they're going to sit there and save fuel, which some of them, to be fair, do look like they're doing. Although the guys that have just pitted are max out, so they're going to have to make a third stop at the end. If it calculates the AI properly. Right, where's Monroe on the track? About halfway round. I feel we could squeeze one more lap out of these. That will just help us on the medium tyres. We just have to get one less lap. They might fall off the cliff at the end of it, but actually I'm not going to risk that, just in case he's not in a position to lose time. So of course we're going to have to max out the fuel tank. So it will actually only be 11 laps after this. But the mediums only went 9 last time, so we are going to have to manage them better this time. I do fuel and tyres? I did fuel and tyres, good. So those soft tyres haven't really worked because we weren't able to come in early enough, I think, to take advantage of the fresh rubber. And we were obviously stuck behind Gretchenov, who we are again. We haven't been able to attack the people that were on the hard tyres, but they've all stopped again for the hards. So we've got an opportunity here. We're going to go to high mode for a lap or two with Munro. Eka will do one more lap, and then she can come in this time around for the soft tyres then, which should comfortably take her to the end of the race. Gearbox looking a little worse for wear. I will put a little bit of extra fuel in that we'll try and use. Obviously, as soon as that gearbox gets too low, we are going to have to back her back down. So we'll take it easy at the beginning of this stint, I think, with both cars, just to try and save the tyres for the end, and then we'll attack in the latter half of this race. Now, will Eka fall off this cliff? She's got a tyre on fresh mediums behind, so we would have known if she did. So that was about the perfect time we could have pitted. Now, can she get back out ahead of this group? Oh, she can't. Oh, I forgot about the pit lane here. Pit lane's very strange. It brings you back out a lot later than you think, and that's a crucial move on Piat there. And it's McLeod again. She needs to get past them. So we will go conserve for the first couple of laps. We'll keep the engine on high. We'll just keep an eye on those gearboxes. And with 9 laps to go then, hopefully we can make some progress. I mean, best case scenario, we're only 10 seconds off some points, and everybody ahead of us is on mediums or hards. So theoretically, we should be able to get back through the field. Some front wings problems from Munro, but there's not much we can do about that now. We'll just have to risk that till the end. I think fuel we're going to have to back down to medium on Munro as well. We have to look after that gearbox, but we can probably go to neutral on the tyres now. We'll keep burning that fuel with Eka, and we'll start attacking a couple of laps later. I think this is really showing the deficit with our car here. I mean, we are losing time to 6th place on hard tyres when we're on softs. So what should theoretically be a tyre delta of around about 2 seconds, and we're still not quick enough to catch them. That's a real worry and a real wake-up call for the team here, I think. Right, we're going to go up to neutral now with Eka. I don't think there's any danger of burning through these tyres now. There's 6 laps to go. I'm just going to check as Munro crosses the line how he's looking for fuel. It's looking very tight with him, but he should be okay as he crosses the line now. It's almost perfect. So maybe if we just do half a lap of low fuel just to make sure. And then we'll go back on the attack again. Front wing at 26. Eka once again struggling to get past McLeod. I don't want to burn through these tyres because I've been bitten too many times from wearing through them. Gearbox at 29. We've got a lot of fuel to use, so maybe if we use overtake for a couple of laps just to see if we can get past McLeod and then use the tyre deficit. There we go, she's through. So we'll go back to high. Luckily the gearbox didn't take a hit that time. She's 8 seconds off points now. She's not really catching quick enough. She might get 7th, but 7th is no good this afternoon. It is just top 6, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Okay, let's go for overtake for another couple of laps. Shara's pitted. That's why there's suddenly a car within range. So actually we only need to get past Batista now, but obviously Shara head is on brand new soft tyres. We've got a little bit of fuel we can use with Munro as well. Let's kick this back down to 2-speed, because I usually did 4-speed for this race, but this is the time we always make problems occur. Right, we're going to have to back off those tyres. We've gone too aggressive on them again. And this is a problem that we keep having. Gearbox, just shut up, people. Keep the radio clear, please. Right, we've got about 2.5 laps to go. So I don't think we do have excess fuel. Don't know what Munro's car is telling us, but... well, we have a tiny bit. I don't want to risk that gearbox anymore. Munro's not got any chance of any points anyway. Eka... she's 2 seconds off points. 2 seconds. But I don't know what we can do. Just want to make sure that these tyres get over the line. And I feel if we go to neutral now, let's just back up, get those temperatures down as much as we can, then we'll go to neutral for the final lap then. Can she do anything about it? The only chance we've got is if Shah and Batista lose time fighting each other here. We've got a tiny bit of excess fuel we can use with Munro as well. I'm not too worried about the gearbox now. Probably a bit of extra tyre wet. She's going to run out of tyres at the end, even if she does get there. Oh, we got someone slow. It's Suets. That's one place. Can we do anything about Batista? I think we've run out of tyres. We have. It's P7. It's a disappointing race. And I think you'll agree in saying probably the maximum we could have got out of that race. We've really been hampered by these fuel tanks. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me whether I voted for it or not, but I wish I hadn't if I did. Because it's really destroying this season. Obviously we were lucky the first couple of races with the strategies, and it does mean that the AI are putting on hard tyres when there's no benefit from them at all. But I don't know. It's not enabling us to do different strategies, and that's the problem. Eka once again making the absolute maximum out of the situation. I can't fault her at the moment. And I was kind of offended that Ruby Smith asked if we would replace her. Munro is going to need to improve. Is going to need to improve quickly here. If we don't see a big closing of the gap between the pair of them by the mid-season point, I may even consider changing drivers this season, because we need someone that's up there fighting with Eka. In the end, Eka only 8 tenths off a point, so it's not all bad. But of course we didn't score any points, so that's bad. Surikov dominating this season, 26 points on his own, double the points of anybody else, and his teammate hasn't even scored. So those points alone puts Team Kirov top of the championship then, and we're now only 2 points ahead of Boris Branka. And yes, it's going to be a struggle. We need to kick this car into shape as soon as we can. So any ideas for that, do let me know. I'm not sure there's much we can do apart from continuing to add parts. I don't know how we can thrust this car forward quickly. I think we need HQ upgrades badly, but we obviously have only had money to spend on a couple of them this season. So we don't hit our sponsor objectives, unfortunately. But we still get $1 million as a base income, so we're now back into the green, thankfully, and we're slowly edging that up, so we can continue to develop parts at a good rate. I think we maybe need to go for some better parts now. I've been trying to increase the minimums, of course, and we've been concentrating on reliability as well. We really need to switch to performance now, and I think that's the direction we'll go, and hopefully that will yield results. Okay, well, it's disappointing, but it was to be expected, to be fair. First 2 races, we've been very lucky, as per usual. And we're now getting into the real grind of the season, where we're going to have to start to prove our car is a good all-rounder. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Keep the comments and help and advice coming. That gets me through this series, and I'm sure we wouldn't be where we were if I didn't have all that help and advice. So keep that coming, like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe if you're new, and as always, thank you for watching everybody, and I'll see you again next time.